Dr. Marilyn McMillan of Eubank knew what she wanted in a garden, but didn't know how to bring her ideas to life. So she enlisted the help of landscape professional Gary Chittister, and the result is a series of garden rooms with inviting views and distinctive southern charm.
We wanted a formal area and an informal area, and just kind of arbitrarily put the formal area to the very back of the house and the informal area more to the side. Part of that was the way the land lays. This was open, and the part that's to the side has bigger trees, and there was a wet weather stream that ran through it. That was kind of out of necessity. The whole farm is 435 acres. What we call the yard is about 20 to 25 acres. Gary Chittister, it is the design work, and then his crew comes down and does the maintenance, and we have another maintenance guy who comes once a week in the summer and mows.
We were smart enough to know that we needed to keep the confusion separated, and that was keep the rustic part, and the formal part, the formal part. People ask me all the time, how much time you spend pulling weeds, and we don't. We spray it. You can't have something this big and be pulling weeds constantly. It just doesn't work that way.
The first thing that you generally notice is the alley. It's maples. It's been here 7 or 8 years. They've made a beautiful canopy that you can walk up.
We thank God for the Marmo maples.
They are a very fast-growing maple. Neither Dr. McMillan or myself are spring chickens. And if we planned on seeing these trees touch, it was going to have to be something that was going to have to grow pretty quick. Because they grow so fast, the roots are on top of the ground. And that's part of the reason why we put the gravel path in here. We didn't want mowers and equipment running over those roots.
We have a lot of open space, and it could be almost intimidating, the amount of completely open space. I have to give credit for Gary for the idea of garden rooms. Each garden can stand on its own or be part of the other garden. I hope it gives you the feel of wanting to walk around the corner and see what's next. There's a statue of a pan boy with a flute in the back garden. It's just situated perfectly. So I enjoy boxwood a lot. It's evergreen, but it's not needled. It's a broadleaf, and it has a shape that you can sculpt or leave natural, either one. And I'd always wanted a garden that you descended to. I'm not sure why particularly, just always an idea that appealed to me. Gary came up with the idea for the fountain.
When we got to the point where we realized that we had found the fountain, these folks negotiated. I asked, will you bring this fountain to Eubank, Kentucky? They said, yeah, sure. The day I met them here, they drove up and down Liberty Road 5 or 6 times thinking, okay, where's the park that this thing is going in? It was the first time they'd ever built that fountain in somebody's backyard.
The walkway up is designed to make you consciously slow down. It has curves, and it's slanted enough that you have to walk it fairly slowly.
It is very important to me that we direct people as to where we want them and how we want them to get there. But we want you to walk through that room that we have made to go up the hill. We had a nursery call us and say, Gary, we've got 300-foot rows of whips of dense-eyed taxus and burning bushes. We give them to you. We don't want to bulldoze them over. In 2 or 3 years, a burning bush can grow to be 4 foot tall. We kindly serpentined it around to kindly conform with the hill to where you weren't going straight up the hill.
You can look back and see the sunken garden at spots, or you can walk up to the pergola that's been here about 10 years. And it walks up to the cemetery, which is where my father is. Where we were able to put him, he can see his hills and he can see his cattle.
I tried to save the flowers for the pots, the colors for the pots, because there is such a big area here. I try to do as much as I can with bushes and trees and evergreens, just simply because that stays.
We have a fountain, bought it with the intent of it being a water fountain. Because of budgetary constraints, it was going to cost way too much money to run electricity and water to it. In all essence, it's a glorified flower pot. And I think it turned out beautifully. I absolutely love it.
Typically, we plant and we design around a structure. We will sit things around for a while until we feel comfortable that that's where they need to be.
I have a lot of connection to Gary's famous Urn from Hell because it's a Kentucky piece. It was built in the Louisville Foundry about 1840 and has been in the Lexington Cemetery at one point. It weighs about 850 pounds. I enjoyed watching him move it.
She's got a barn full of antiques and hardscape, and she likes for that to get rotated.
I've collected antiques since I literally was a child. I've always been sort of fascinated by history. Garden antiques are really nice because something that's even 10 or 15 years old gets a patentation out in the garden pretty quickly, so it can be a little hard to tell age. Gary had the idea of making a secret garden. The idea is that you walk through, then the space opens up, and there's this place to sit.
We designed the secret garden around the fountain.
The fountain in the secret garden, I feel like we rescued it from Katrina. We got it out the spring before Katrina hit in the fall. It's French and was in New Orleans for years. It's probably from about 1750. I use the secret garden mostly just to kind of walk through. Even in the wintertime, you can sit back there if the sun is out. We go back there and just kind of enjoy being secluded a little bit. I hope that people realize that it was a labor of love. Not just on my part. There have been a lot of people that have put a lot of effort and time into it, and I'm very, very lucky to be able to enjoy their work.